Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm your host, the Board Game Captain.
I'm Lynn.
And I'm Alex.
And today we are going to be doing a top 10 countdown of our top 10 favorite game elements. Now, what do you mean by your favorite game elements, you might ask? I'm glad you asked. Our top 10 favorite game elements in this case is referring to play styles and game mechanics. So we've decided to do the order randomly. Lynn, why don't you give us a nice shuffle, cut the deck, and deal us each a card. We're going to introduce each of our numbers on the list in the order that the cards decide. So it's going to be totally random who goes first, second, and third. Oh, nice one-handed cut. All right. I got the 5 of spades.
I got 8.
5 of hearts.
Okay, so let's see. It's going to be Lynn.
You want a tiebreaker?
Well, no. You do reverse alphabetical order. So it's actually going to be Lynn, me, Alex. Oh, well, that's easy. We're going to go straight down the line.
Down the line.
All right. So now, why don't we talk a little bit about how we each came up with our list. Now, I'll go first. I went on Board Game Geek, where I list most of the games that I've played, and I looked at a lot of my favorite games, tried to figure out why I liked them, whether it was their play style or their mechanic, wrote down play styles and mechanics, and then reorganized it into a top 10 order, basically. What'd you do?
I just, I thought of mechanics that I liked, and I only got about 7 of them. So then I went on to Board Game Geek and just started randomly searching games that I liked and seeing if there were any mechanics that I missed.
And what'd you do for yours?
I did a little bit of research on Board Game Geek as well. I think this is a pretty big shout out for Board Game Geek.
They are the resource.
I also read a couple articles on what are good elements of game design targeted towards people who make their own board games, and I thought those were pretty informative. And
You're
I found
such a nerd.
Way to make us look like slackers, dude.
I do a lot of research. It's weird, but
wow.
So I did that, and using that as some guidance, I picked up my top 10. Some of them are game elements. Some of them are just things I like about board games. Some of them are actually kind of mutually exclusive. They don't agree with each other if you were to put them in the same game, but they're things I like about all kinds of different games. So that's how I came down with my list.
God, I feel like I was a total slacker. I was way too casual. That's awesome. Okay. Well, there you have it. So, without further ado, let's get to the countdown. Number 10. So, for number 10 on the countdown, you got the first card.
My number 10 is deck building.
Oh, deck
So we have Ascension here. And it's basically this, you just, you draft cards and you have to kill stuff, but it's mainly deck building. And I don't know what else to say.
Well, why do you like deck building so much?
It's sort of, well, I used to play Magic the Gathering, and it's sort of like that, but light. And so it's like Magic Light, and each game, you pretty much had a different deck. Because in Magic, you would always have like, oh, this is my black-blue deck.
But this one, you actually make the deck during the game.
Yeah, you make the deck during the game,
Yeah.
so every game is different. And I don't know, I like it.
You know, I'm not going to complain about your choice. In fact, I'm trying to remember if I put deck building on my list.
So am I.
Because that's actually a really cool mechanic.
I did not. I fortunately did not.
Let me see, did I put it on my list?
I have something similar, but not exactly deck building.
Yeah, you know what? This was on my short list of things I was thinking of including, but then I didn't actually put it on my list. But I can't jump on you for this at all. I love deck building games, and I love the deck building game. Well, it just didn't make my top 10.
It was number 11.
Yeah, it was like number 11. Exactly. It was like number 11. Yeah. All right, so now it's my turn. Why don't you pass me my game I grabbed over there? So my number 10 here is worker placement. Now, I could have just as easily grabbed Lords of Waterdeep or Manhattan Project, but I chose to grab a little game that isn't as well known called Submerge because we played this recently and I haven't done a review for it yet, but this game is awesome. So spoiler alert, when I do my review, I like this game. And you know what? I love deck building. Deck building. I'm still stuck on yours. Worker placement. I love worker placement. You know what? There's something to be said for all those different abilities out there and your choice of like, okay, so I've got this resource. doesn't even really have to be a worker. It's just the mechanic of worker placement. I've got this resource, and I can put it on any one of these, and I put it on him, it gives me more resources. When I put it on him, it lets me do this cool special ability, and if I put it over here, well, I get to draw more cards. And, you know, having those options and all those different things you can do and trying to get some that are limited before your opponents do, I just love it. I don't know how you guys feel about worker placement, but I'm a big worker placement fan. I think it's a great mechanic.
I like
Sure.
it.
It's one of those elements that brings a lot of variability to a game. You can really, depending on where you put them, that dictates how the whole game is played.
Your turn.
All right. My number 10 is area control, which is typified. Ooh, that was loud.
To be careful, it picks up sound really well.
Typified by no other game better than probably classic Risk. This is the Game of Thrones version of Risk, but area control is what this entire game is about. It's you know, the more area you control, the more resources you get, the more ability you have to defend and attack, and that's really the whole name of the game. So control all the area, win the game.
Now, I don't want to...
It's not... Area control isn't on my list just because I like certain area control games, but not every area control game.
Right. I want to keep you in suspense, so I'm not going to tell you whether or not area control is actually...
Probably is.
On my list. But I love area control games. Hence, I mean, if you watch my videos, you can probably see how many versions of Risk I have on the shelf that's just behind me. So, yeah, and Game of Thrones Risk. And I haven't done a review for this one yet either, but it is coming at some point, and this is my current favorite version of Risk. Mm-hmm. It is really cool. So, yeah, no argument for me on that. Area control is awesome sauce.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Number 9. All right.
So my number 9 is Pick Up and Deliver, represented by Firefly.
Great game.
I like order and lists and rules and pick up and deliver type games. It's like, yes, it's random where you have to go just and do, but it's still like you get a card, you have to go here, pick up that person or object and bring them here, and it makes me happy.
Now let me ask you a question. So this is a pickup and delivery game with like a heavy economic feel to it. A lot of it is you're being paid
money,
to do jobs.
There's like Monopoly money and stuff.
Well, the question I was going to get at was, are you cool with pickup and delivery games where it's not like an economic theme, where it's literally just like pick up this cube here and go to there?
I could have chosen Merchant of Venus for this.
Well, that's heavily economic too, though.
There's no money in that, though.
You're getting paid for delivering the goods. Yeah,
but
you're not counting it. You're not.
It's not like the big like Monopoly money where you can slap people with your wad of bills like Firefly.
It is. You get points. You
get points, but it's not.
All right. Well, I would no, but I mean like if you had a game. I don't even know if we have any games like this. I know there are ones like this, but if we had a game where it's literally just go to point A, pick up this wooden cube, and then take it to point B. And it's not. I mean, it's not an economically themed game like Merchant of Venus or Firefly, where you're doing it for a job to make money to do shipments. It's just very more abstract. Would you still love pick up and delivery?
How would you win that game and get points?
Well, you get points for everything you deliver. But
then wouldn't that be the same? It's just money instead of points.
Okay, so the answer is yes. Then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know. I'm just curious.
That was a long way to get to a short answer.
Fair enough. You got anything to say on pick up and delivery?
I like that it gives you a structured layout for the game. I appreciate that point. However, I appreciate it more a little bit less structure in that. A little less predictability. I find that's more enjoyable. But
well, with this, I mean, the cards are totally random. You deal out them cards, and that's and you can choose which one to take. Like you go there, and there's a few jobs, and you're like, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to take that job. And
like choose your own adventure, but with money in the end. Okay,
well, it's a cool mechanic. I'm not going to deny.
Sure.
So mine I chose is, see how I wrote it, variable player powers. Now, I love it when a game gives you options of different races to be, and each race has different mechanics they get to use that's unique to you, but it's fairly balanced with everybody else's powers. And one of the games that I feel that really captures this very well is Among the Stars. In Among the Stars, you've got a bunch of different races. You can either deal them out randomly, or you can choose, which is, we always choose. I like to pick. And each of the races has its own extra mechanic, extra ability that it can do and no one else can do. And I love that. But I mean, I could have just as easily chosen, say, Twilight Imperium for that, with all the different races.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of games that have that. But
well, Among the Stars, most of the races have a negative effect too. It's like you can do this, which is really awesome, but then you can't do that.
yeah, counterbalances the really good effects.
Yeah.
The ones that don't have negative effects, their positive powers are usually more minor. But the ones with really good positive powers will have a negative effect to counterbalance it. Yeah, which is really cool.
Okay. I'd like to comment, but we'll just move on to mine, because my number 9 effect is variable player powers. I also did / starting resources. I figure that's basically the same thing. Like,
Variable starting resources.
right, variable starting resources. So
Which they do that in Terraforming Mars.
I picked Terraforming Mars as the game which exemplifies that. You have your different corporations. Each one gives you a bonus or sometimes a negative, and that really dictates how you have to play the entire game. I think I like that at the beginning because, like you said, you can randomize it or pick them as you go. So
Right there.
There you go. Those are the number 9.
Not only did we pick the same mechanic for the same number, you picked one of my favorite games of all time to represent it. I love Terraforming Mars.
And they're both by the same game company. Which
Stronghold. That's weird. Yeah, we both picked 2 games from Stronghold Games.
apparently they like to make games where you start out with variable resources.
Well, variable play powers.
Variable play powers.
is a popular mechanic these days. And I'm just going to give a shout out to Stronghold Games real quick because you guys make a lot of games that I love. So, you covered it all with me, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like both of these games, Among the Stars and Terraforming Mars. Just not enough to put that on my list.
You didn't like variable player powers.
I didn't really think about it, honestly.
It's all right. It's fine.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move on to our number 8. Number 8.
My number 8 is Press Your Luck element. So I have Behind the Throne, which is a card game, Press Your Luck type of game. I like it because it brings me glee when other people fail. And in this game especially, you can, there's a way where you can, stop and almost guarantee that the next person is going to fail miserably. And that makes me very, very happy.
I forgot about the Press Your Luck element in this. When you pulled this out, I thought it was going to be set collecting.
Nope.
See, because the thing of how if you draw a card and it's larger than the previous card, I totally forgot that was in there. And then when you said it, I'm like, oh, right. Oh, yeah, I love Press Your Luck dice games, card games. There's a lot of games with Press Your Luck elements these days. I mean, it's a very fun mechanic. I'm not going to jump on you for that.
I think Lynn also enjoys the Schadenfreude element of
Yes.
The Schadenfreude element?
Yes.
taking pleasure in the loss of others.
I do.
Well, yeah,
Especially when I'm the cause of that loss. I love it.
you are so evil.
Not necessarily pressing your luck, it's oppressing others' luck. It's more what you enjoy.
Wow. Okay. So, that's a good game. I like Behind the Throne. That is a really good game. So my number 8 element that we're doing right now is bluffing. Okay.
Nice.
I mean, I love bluffing. Bluffing is a great element for all games from poker on up to Sheriff of Nottingham. I mean, it's just this game works so well in the bluffing element. It kind of encourages role playing in the game, which is so cool. Like when you're saying, "Look, Sheriff, I only got 4 apples in that bag," and the sheriff goes, "Really? Bag feels a little bit heavy. You want to grease my palm a little bit?" And that whole, back and forth, like, no, Sheriff, I will not offer you any bribes because there's only 4 apples in that bag. And you're really trying hard to bluff because in reality you're smuggling in crossbows. I freaking love bluffing. Bluffing is tons of fun. It's a great mechanic. I know you're going to have some negative things to say about it.
Yeah, I bought this game mainly because it was Robin Hood, because I'll buy anything with Robin Hood. But I hate bluffing games. I'm terrible at it. it.
This is one of the sad things in our marriage because she hates bluffing games and I love bluffing games. But you'll still play. You still play this game with us.
I do still play it, and I just fail miserably.
But you enjoy when you're playing it.
Yeah.
You get into it. You get into the role playing aspect of it. Even though that's not my mechanic. My mechanic is bluffing games.
Is it because you're too honest, Lynn? Is that why?
No, it's just I just start laughing, and I don't know.
You're not too honest. You're just a bad liar.
Yeah.
She starts laughing and she gives herself away. She'll be like 4 apples, and I'll go, really? And she goes, I'm like, okay, I'm opening this bag. It always happens with her. Mm-hmm. So that's my number 8. That's bluffing.
My number 8 isn't exactly a game element. It's a characteristic of games that I really enjoy, which is that they're not too long. I like games that you can play in less than a couple of hours.
Is the time length a mechanic?
No, it's not a mechanic.
No, it's not.
An element. It's an element.
Yeah, but we did say that the elements. What game did you have to show for this?
Right.
Let's get there.
This is Seven Ronin, which is a 2-player game. It actually fills a lot of the other game elements that I like as well, but I'm going to go with this is a fairly shorter game to play.
The medium one.
Yeah, it's medium. Like it's not. We do a lot.
It's not 15 minutes.
Right. We do a lot of discussion about good games to play over a beer,
but it's not 4 hours.
We're at a 15 to 20 minute, 30 minute game at most, but it's not going to take you 3 or 4 hours as well. So it's not Risk, which I enjoy, but I don't like sometimes how long it takes to play. But it's not something not a one-off you do in a few minutes.
I love Seven Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot fault you for picking Seven Ronin as a game to represent this. However, we said game mechanics and play styles, and under 2 hours is not a play style.
Well, I find when I'm looking for a game I want to play, what I look at, so I look at number of players, and then I look at estimated time. Those are the first 2 things I look at before I decide which game I want to play.
A lot of people do look at that too. That's why a lot of times they try to underestimate the time on these games.
Yeah, right. Which is another thing that leads us to another discussion that we're probably not going to have now about how accurate they are in their time estimates. But
I don't know. What do you think about that as a choice? That is a questionable choice, but I love the game.
Okay.
All right. So I guess we're going to move on. Number 7.
So my number 7 is set collection. So I have Guildhall here. This game it's basically centers around getting sets of cards and then turning them in for points. And you do what makes it interesting is you're not just collecting, random stuff. The more cards you have in a set, you get better abilities to use during the game. And you lose that, of course, when you trade them in for points, but points is how you win, so...
What? I love that everything you just said about Guildhall could be said just as equally about Behind the Throne, which I thought you had picked for set collection before.
Yeah.
It's all again, abilities and set collecting for points.
And there is messing with people in this game too. That's going to be a theme throughout all my games.
Like the Assassins?
Yes.
There is a thread running through all of Lynn's games.
I'm just wondering here, is one of the game elements going to be attacking other players?
No.
Them up?
Anything but cooperation.
You know what? Ironically, I'll bet you cooperative games is on.
I bet you it is. Yeah,
I bet you it is. Yeah, and it's funny because you guys can score the people up, but you also like cooperative games. I'm betting now that it's on the list somewhere.
I agree. Okay. Like my list. There's some things that are mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Did you have anything to say about set collecting?
No, it was something similar to I was thinking of including about using your set collecting is sort of the same, in the same realm as using the way you gather points to also pay for effects in the game. So it's kind of a similar thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like you need these cards to win, but you also need to use the cards to get more cards.
But didn't quite make your list.
Don't quite make your list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's similar.
Well, my number 7 is a pair of it's kind of 2 mechanics, but they almost never appear without each other, and they are pattern recognition and pattern forming. They just go hand in hand. I know they're 2 separate mechanics, but they're just I mean, it's hard to find a game that has one and not the other, so I decided to put them both there. So I chose Potion Explosion to represent this, because first you recognize the pattern on the ingredient dispenser, and then you form the pattern by yanking one marble out to make the explosions. I mean, but again, I could have just as easily, for pattern recognition and pattern forming, I could have chosen, say, lanterns. Would have been another good example of a pattern recognition, pattern forming game. And I love them. I love that eureka moment.
Right.
You're staring at it, and you're like...
Takanoku, too, because you have to make the bamboo in a certain shape.
That's another good example. Oh, yeah. And you know, and I love those eureka moments where you're looking at it and you're saying, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm stuck. And then you go, and suddenly you go, it's like a light bulb goes off in your head, like, ping, and you're like, oh, that one right there. I take that piece. Everything comes to fruition now. And I go from last place to first in one turn. And I love that can happen in pattern recognition, pattern forming games like this. I get a kick out of them.
I like Potion Explosion.
I got no comments.
I don't have much to say either way. Yeah, it's fun.
I love those kind of games. So,
all right, you guys got all over me for my last element.
Are we about to do it again?
We're gonna do it again. It's not an element. It's not an element at all. It's like what I like to look at when I'm going to play a game, and it's just slightly more important than the length of the game. I really enjoy 2-player games.
Well, 2 players is a play style.
Okay, well there you go. So I'm not as bad off as I was before.
Yeah.
I think Grimslingers isn't an exclusively 2-player game, but I like the 2-player element in this game a lot.
Well, I was gonna say it's not a strictly 2-player game, but you know what? In the dueling mode, I don't think I would play it at any player count other than 2 players. The only way I would play it higher than 2 players is in the adventure mode, which you haven't tried yet. You haven't tried it.
But the 2-player the duel mode, right, is
really good for 2 players.
I really enjoyed that.
That's a great game to play over one beer.
One beer, 2-player games, and 2-player games can be like this, Grimslingers, where it takes 20 minutes, or it can be, Monopoly, which we're not.
So what's your thought on that? I think it is kind of
games.
Yeah, as a play style. What do you think?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, so we're not going to jump on you.
You're not going to jump all over me. Wow,
we're in agreement.
I guess.
I didn't think to put
No, I didn't either.
I didn't think to put 2 players on the list. It didn't even occur to me.
I think I focused on game mechanics more.
Yeah, me too. And one other play styles, but like 2 players a play style just did not occur to me.
Well, there's basically 1 player, 2-player, and then everything else.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah, solo games. Yeah.
Right. So you have if you're not doing 1-player or 2-player,
and then it's either 2 to 5 or 3 to 4, 3 to 5, or 2 to 4.
Right.
And then there's there's the other.
Well, this can do up to 6, I believe, right?
That one can, but then there's the other end of the spectrum also when you have those games that play like 6 to 24, those crazy party games like Werewolf and whatnot, which are total other thing. I think the only thing we've got a couple like that. We don't have too many of the big party games,
right?
Because we usually don't have that many people. Like it's very rare for us to have enough people to play those giant games.
That's just hard to do unless you're in like a college dorm.
You have to
or something.
like people.
Yeah,
you have to not try to destroy them when they're playing the game like Lynn enjoys.
Whereas you know what, and that's a cool thing to talk about. Is it's so rare to have that many people to play, but 2 people, you come over and we play a game over a beer. You and me are hanging out and we're like, what do you want to do? Let's play a game. You could if you're looking to play a game, having 2 people to play a game is the easiest number of people to have, other than 1 for solo games, which I never play solo games personally. So do you play solo games?
Like video games, but also.
Oh, okay.
Like Minesweeper.
Yes, absolutely, Minesweeper.
Number 6.
My number 6 is pattern building, represented by lanterns.
Another crossover there. You have it upside down, by the way.
I do? There we go.
Didn't recognize that pattern, did you?
Lantern. Anyway.
So, what do you got to say about some... Now, I threw out pattern recognition and pattern building before, and I did say this is a great game to choose for that, actually.
Yeah, because you have the colored lanterns, and especially when you start to get right angles in the board, and you can match 2 of the colors, that's always super awesome, and you always feel like very accomplished, like, look at that, look what I did.
Plus, something I love about this with the positional strategy, and this is a pattern also, is and I bet you love this too, is because in addition to what you match, everyone gets a card based on the direction of the tile that is facing them.
Right.
You can use it to screw your opponent over and be like, oh, look, we have no white cards left. I'm going to have the white side face you, so you get no cards. Sorry!
Yes.
I knew you would.
And there's kind of set collection too, because you're collecting the different colored
Oh, there's definitely set collection.
to trade in for points. I mean, that's like every game I've mentioned. You collect cards, trade in for points.
I mean, these are not surprises to me at all. I know you love set collection. I know you love pattern recognition and pattern forming cards. I figured when I put pattern forming / recognition on my list, it was going to be a crossover with you. I knew it was going to be. So yeah, well, no, and that's a great game to pick for it too. I mean, I only didn't pick it because I like Potion Explosion slightly better, but I love both of them. They're both great games.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're doing number 6, right?
Number 6.
Number 6. So thank you. My number 6, and we were just talking about this game earlier. Now, I unfortunately haven't gotten to play this game in a while, but I love this game, and I played the heck out of it when it was first re-released, Merchant of Venus. And the reason I love it is I love the economic pickup and delivery. And that's why I was asking you about, like, because I don't know, if the game was more abstract, where it was just sort of pick up cube A to go to point B and give you points, I don't know that I would like it as much. And again, I could say Firefly like you did just as well for this game, because they both have a very similar feel. You're delivering goods, you're delivering passengers, you're getting paid to do a job, and it feels really cool to play that out in a game.
Well, you like space in general. You can slap space or Mars on anything and you would like it.
While that is true, if Merchant of Venus was Merchant of Venice and you were sailing around the Mediterranean, I would still like it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I like the mechanics. The mechanic of pickup and delivery is awesome. Yes, it's true, if you have space or Mars on it, I will probably buy your game. FYI, game designers, put space or Mars in your game and I will buy it. And that is true. I do have an inordinately large amount of sci-fi games, don't I?
Then Hellsing on Mars.
Right.
Oh, that's a stretch. I don't know if I would do that.
I think that explains your affinity still for the Martian Rails game.
Oh God, that's awful.
I like Martian Rails.
Because it has Mars in it.
And it also has pickup and delivery in it. Oh, you guys.
And crayons.
Actually, I saw some people were using dry erase markers to great effect to make the lines.
Those crayons are terrible.
Yeah, the crayons are a problem. Yeah. But anyway, we're getting off topic. What is your number 6?
My number 6 is games with complete information. So unlike the as exemplified by Onitama, the thing I like about the complete information is that everybody knows exactly what is available. There's no surprises. It's just you have to use strategy to figure out what the other player is going to do with all of that information. So I enjoy that as a mechanic because it reduces some of that randomness or luck. If depending on how this dice falls, it could change the entire way of the game. While it could be fun for certain games, I enjoy the aspect of everybody knowing exactly what's possible.
I'm not gonna say I don't. I do like complete information games. But I like lighter complete information games like Onitama. I think Onitama is a great choice for it.
Right.
I think that I have a problem with heavier weight complete information games like Go or chess, because games like that, because there's no randomness at all, it gets to be the point where people will play that game to the detriment of all other games and become masters of that game on those heavier complete information games, to the point where you, as a more casual gamer, never have a chance to beat them, and the game's not fun for you anymore. Because as soon as you play against someone who does just what... So like Onitama is more casual, you don't have that with Onitama. You sit down, you play a quick game. But like with chess, if you're playing with other casual people, it's cool.
Right.
But you play with someone who goes to all the chess tournaments and is a ranked player, or the Go tournaments and is a ranked Go player, and it's not fun anymore.
Well, I also, with Onitama, there's 2 ways to win. It's not just like your king is in checkmate, because you could either take out the main guy, I forget what he's called, or
the master.
You can either take out the master, or you can get your master into the other master's temple.
Yeah, the variety of ways to win, and that's a separate mechanic, mind you. But that is I agree with you. That is a really cool element in Onitama.
Yeah.
But yeah, Onitama is for your mainly with your choice of game. I can't argue with it at all. I love Onitama. That's a great game.
And it fits in my 2-hour window.
It does. So your theme continues of preferring shorter games, just like her theme of screwing over the other players,
Destroying the competition.